We're live.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Titans table for two in that two-tone blue, baby. We got a couple of special guests today. I'm Christian. That's Andrew. We got Jordan Dajani here from CBS. And we got our good friend from this Texans podcast, man. That's Curtis down there. He's kind of responsible for this whole umbrella that all these podcasts are under. So you can thank him for all of us being here together and everything. And, yeah, we'll be right back here in just a second.
Do what? Oh, you guys, this one?
Just gonna like.
All right.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We appreciate everybody being here. Before we get started, we'd appreciate it if you tighten up that like button, subscribe, add to the comment section down below anything that you'd like to add to the discussion. We'd love to hear from you guys. A lot to talk about this week, in particular with the Titans, guys. I guess we'll get started with the elephant in the room, man. Callahan's seat is hotter than maybe any NFL's coach's seat has been in a while. Maybe going down as one of the worst NFL head coaches we've seen, unfortunately. And the news that bounces off of that this week is that the play calling duties are going to go to the quarterback's coach,
Bo Hardegree.
Yeah, and that's talk about that, because we skipped right over the offensive coordinator. So what's there to think about that for Titans fans? That's something they're asking a lot this week.
We automatically love Bo Hardegree because he's a VFL. He was a former backup quarterback at the University of Tennessee. But when it comes to the OC being passed over for those play calling duties, well, Nick Holtz, just like Brian Callahan when he came to Nashville, had no experience calling plays. Bo Hardegree actually has experience calling plays.
Absolutely.
Back in 2023, when the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels and forget the offensive coordinator's name, something Lombardi, that's when Hardegree was asked to step up and call plays for Antonio Pierce. And that year, the Raiders went from 15.8 points per game in weeks 1 through 8 to 22.9 points per game in weeks 9 through 18. And they also cut down their turnovers as well. So the reason that Bo Hardegree is going to be calling plays is because he actually has some experience doing so. Granted, it was only like 9 games.
Absolutely.
He did drop 63 on the Chargers.
Oh, did he? Yeah, I think that was more about Brandon Staley, to be honest with you.
Hey, Aiden O'Connell at quarterback.
Aiden O'Connell, legend, yeah, of
You gotta
course.
say Cam Ward is better than Aiden O'Connell, right?
I would say, yeah, I think so.
Well, the other big news that dropped today, this week was the Jarvis Brownlee trade. Definitely one of me and Christian's favorite players since he's been here. What did you make out of that? I feel like there's got to be something more going on, especially for what they got for him.
I mean, I could spend 10 minutes on that. It upset me for 2 different reasons. One is that you parted ways with a legitimate starting cornerback on a rookie deal. He was your only solidified cornerback entering the season. L'Jarius Sneed obviously was dealing with injuries entering this year. So that didn't make much sense to me. And there's no excuse for it, or no explanation, I guess I should say, for it, because if you're someone who says, I don't like his penalties, well, there are a lot of elite cornerbacks out there, not saying Jarvis is elite, but guys like Patrick Surtain, Sauce Gardner. If you're an alpha boundary corner in today's NFL, you are going to draw yellow laundry. That's part of it. And it's not like Jarvis was an absolute problem when he was on the field. But the other thing that really upset me is, how about you guys convince me that we should move on from Jarvis? Something happened behind the scenes. He's not accepting coaching, whatever it may be. And I say, okay, let's move him. I'm not accepting the worst possible trade compensation imaginable. You have to give a 7th round pick to the Jets to accept a 6th round pick. That's what wide receiver Sky Moore went for with the Kansas City Chiefs, who's been with that organization for multiple years, clearly failed, clearly a bust. You can't tell me that you can't get a 5th or even a 4th for someone who can be a borderline starting cornerback in the NFL. So the Titans got worse. And again, this was a 5th round pick. This was a guy who overplayed his draft status.
Absolutely.
And you took a loss on that player, a young guy on his rookie deal. So I don't understand it.
Does this say anything about the players they have? Like Jalen Armour-Davis was a pretty respectable corner coming out of the draft, and I don't think he's stuck in Baltimore mainly because of injuries. Is this show that they have faith in him, possibly?
I mean, that still doesn't make sense to me. I like that we picked him up on waivers on roster cutdown day, but that's a dude who has really struggled to stay healthy. And I feel like the Titans' MO, or just recently, has been to have players that can remain healthy. That absolutely flies in the face of that. I will say that doesn't make sense to me because I think everyone would agree objectively that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. was one of your best cornerbacks on roster. So to have guys like Marcus Harris or Jalen Armour Davis step up and try to play a role on this really bad team, again, we're talking about a guy on a rookie contract. He's just going to get better and develop. That's been an explanation that's been thrown around a lot. It does not make logical sense to me.
It's frustrating too, as Titans fans. It's kind of more of the same stuff that doesn't make sense. He was, like you said, he wasn't an elite player, but he was a young player on a rookie contract with a lot of upside. And like you said, was outperforming his position in the draft. He was one of my favorite players. I'm really
I mean, exactly. If you're talking about entering this season, you know Tennessee's probably not going to be that good, and you had to identify some potential, let's call them cornerstones for your team moving forward defensively, you would say Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Tavondre Sweat.
Absolutely.
Right? Those would be your top two guys, and you parted ways with one. I even struggle to say part ways with one. You threw him in the trash. You got terrible compensation for that deal. And now he's probably going to flourish with New York with Aaron Glenn, a former Pro Bowl defensive back, running that team as well.
As players tend to do sometimes when they leave the Titans.
Is this will this be the first time? I don't know.
So I think for him, he'll go to the slot in there. And I do think his skill set is better in the slot where he can get a little more handsy and they won't throw it. But for Snead and Brownlee, a problem for their style of play is the lack of pass rush, because they're guys that want to get their hands on the receiver, throw them off the route, and let the pass rush get there while they're doing that. When the quarterback has 5 seconds to throw, you're going to draw a flag, you're going to get beat because you can only put your hands on them so much.
And if it is a coaching thing, I don't think the Titans fans in particular have too much faith in this coaching staff right now. So if that's the thing, at this point, I'd rather have just kept Jarvis and coached him up and see have him part of this team in the future, because he was one of my favorite players, and I think he had incredible upside.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree with you on that. And I love having, for so many years, I lamented the status of the Titans cornerback room. Like I wanted an alpha dog outside, and we finally got that with Jarvis. Understanding he's not a Pro Bowl player, but now that room gets worse. And it really makes me wonder not only about the direction of the franchise, but number two, who else could be moved? What would happen if Tavondre Sweat got moved? I know he's on IR right now, but how about these young pieces that are talented? What if one of those guys gets moved? Is that something that's coming down the line?
So that brings me to another question. If the season continues to go how we think it's probably going to go, what potential players do you think could get moved?
Yeah, that was my next question. Yeah, what are we looking at as far as I don't know, you'd think mostly these veteran guys are the ones that they're going to
like
get
Simmons,
it looks like
or
everybody's
Ridley.
On the block here.
Well, that'd be my answer. Is I think that it's easier to make a list of guys who are probably untouchable compared to who could be moved at the trade deadline. And I know Brian Callahan said this does not signal a fire sale, but I don't know how much I believe that, because he's not the GM. He's not the president of football operations. So right. I'm looking at guys. If there's a running back that goes down for a contender, could Tony Pollard potentially be a guy? Tight end Chigo Okonkwo is going to be looking for an extension at some point. You got Gunnar Helm in the fold. Is Chigo Okonkwo, the athlete out of Maryland, someone who could be moved? Jeffrey Simmons, you mentioned. I think that's a very natural trade target. Arden Keys, guy on an expiring deal that's only going to draw a late day 3 pick, in my opinion. Here's another one that I'll just bring up, and I don't want to upset anybody or make any kind of hot
Hold
take.
on to your seats.
But what about Roger McCreary?
Okay.
Because this is a good slot cornerback who's looking for a new deal. If you're the Tennessee Titans and you come to the conclusion saying we're not going to pay this guy, I think the best path is to trade him and see what you can get for someone like that. But that's only if you come to the conclusion that you're not going to pay this guy. I think everybody would agree that we want to pay Roger McCreary. Let's have him in the fold moving forward. But given his contract status, I think that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he's maybe one of the most underrated corners in the league, in my opinion. I know I'm biased, but
We've got a comment over here. It says, which player gets moved to the Chiefs?
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley. There you go.
Calvin.
They have enough receiver
Jeffrey
trouble.
Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons and Chris Jones rushing the passer together.
That's another Super Bowl appearance for sure.
Yeah.
So since we're on Calvin Ridley, Make it make sense. He's looked so good. Now he's wearing special glasses in practice. What's going on with this
They
guy?
say he has 3 drops this season, but I'm counting 7, 8.
It's gonna be
maybe
3 a
9.
game.
I think the official mark's actually 4 drops, which is maybe
Okay.
tied for most in the NFL. I might be looking at the wrong thing, but that's what I saw this morning.
CD Lamb.
CD Lamb had like 4 in the second half versus the Eagles in week 1. And I think that's where all his drops came from. So to make it make sense, I mean, anytime you see a talented wide receiver going through this kind of issue of naturally catching the football, it's totally a mentality / headspace thing. And I think that you try to mitigate that by making him wear those weird glasses. You guys see that? I really want to put those on to see what it's like, by the way. I want to see what it's like to catch a football wearing those glasses.
I feel like it's the glasses that make you put on to like, this is what it's like to drink and drive.
Yeah, it's like one of those, or you're all wobbly and stuff.
So
But
he's essentially like a batter in a slump right now, trying to.
And we'll probably get into this, but when we're talking about the development of your number 1 overall pick at quarterback, not having your number 1 wide receiver in the game mentally, dropping passes he should catch absolutely hurts his development, hurts the production of your team, and that's why, or a big reason, you're 0-3.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
if
mean,
you
he has
take
a 4th round pick outshining him so far. 4th round rookie has come in and outshined him so far on this squad.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that guy for a second?
Go ahead.
What are
I
your
love that guy.
takeaways on Alec Manor?
I don't think he's elite, like top 5 type, top 10 wide receiver in the league type deal. But gosh, you have to be excited as a Titans fan for this rookie. And I have to give DK a little bit of, shout out too on special teams. Both rookie wide receivers have given Titans fans a lot to be excited about in the future, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking for a legitimate boundary wide receiver, someone who could fill the role of the number 2. And Manor has caught touchdowns in back-to-back games now. Who is the last Titans rookie to do that? Trivia time.
Last Titans rookie.
Who was the last Titans rookie?
It's got to be an obscure.
Two
Is it an
touchdowns.
obscure name?
It's not obscure at
It's not
all. It's the
obscure?
exact
Okay.
opposite. His name was A.J. Brown in
A.J.
2019. Is the last rookie wide receiver for Tennessee to catch back-to-back touchdowns in games. I also found this really interesting. I put this on Twitter. Seemed like no one really cared about it, but it was interesting to me. Is that Cam Ward and Alec Manor are the 3rd rookie quarterback wide receiver duo since 1991 to combine for 10 receptions and 100 receiving yards through 3 career games.
Wow.
The other one, the last one was actually, shout out our boy Curtis here, Tank Dell, Texans legend. Him and
Okay.
CJ Stroud were a great connection. And I'm blanking on the first one. It might have been AJ Green or something.
That would make some sense. AJ
Yeah.
Green
So
and
I knew
Andy
if it wasn't an
Dalton.
obscure name, it had to be AJ Brown there. So yeah, like you said, man, a lot to be excited about. I love Iowa Manor. He goes up and snatches that ball. I wish Callahan had given him some more yards and another catch on that challenge there.
That was tough. That was tough.
That's inexcusable stuff there. Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go back to him for a second, I want to ask a couple questions about that because one of the big things about him was the play call and the great play calling abilities from Callahan. He's not even doing that now. So the writing's on the wall pretty much, right? Essentially. I mean, he's not even doing what he was brought here to do now. And
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, what they're hoping this change kind of sparks is that maybe Bo Hardigree is a good play caller and that helps the offense. But the other part of this is, let's say Callahan now has that off his plate. All of a sudden, situational football is better. He's making better challenges. He's more on top of his game, let's say, as a head coach. That's what Tennessee wants to see. And they're hoping that is something that directly leads to wins. But there's one thing you said that kind of bothered me is that these offensive minds that have been hired as head coaches and we automatically assume, oh, they've worked with Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, Derek Carr. They know how to develop quarterbacks. They know how to call plays, even though they've never called plays before. It's worked before in the cases of guys maybe like Zach Taylor, but with guys like Brian Callahan, I just think it's way too much of a roulette spin to have an offensive mind who's never called plays before be your lead man. And unfortunately, this is a learning lesson for the NFL at large, in my opinion.
Amen. Yeah, the Texans are dealing with that right now with Nick Haley being a rookie signal caller.
You missing Slowick yet or no?
No. Slowick gave us different kind of problems. Like the offense never evolved. He never adjusted. At no point did he trust CJ with audibles. So a lot of times they'd walk up to the line of scrimmage and CJ just had to run the play. So Kaylee's brought a little bit more evolution, but it's still, he's a rookie signal caller, and it's not easy. It's not
Did you see that report from Diana Rossini saying something's going to come out about the Texans behind the scenes? What do you think that is?
Probably some sort of D'Amico getting in Nick Kaylee's behind. so to
Too
speak.
involved in the offense kind of thing?
I think I think D'Amico is such a player's coach that he has a hard time of like taking off the smile. I don't ever see him getting actually frustrated, except for the first time last week against the Jags on the sideline. I actually saw him yelling at Nick Caley. I think he's finally had enough. I feel like he's starting to feel a little bit of a hot seat, and Casario's breathing down his neck because Casario's on a hot seat. I don't know what it could be, but I would imagine that there's going to be some heads that roll if we end up losing to Tennessee this Sunday.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine that.
Win.
Win. Yeah, okay. We got some comments. Brandon says, wait, so Aya Manor has more touchdowns than Travis Hunter?
Yes.
1,000%.
Who's Travis
affirmative.
Hunter?
Kingmaker Sports says, I still believe in Tank Dell. Some coordinators are just not made to be top guys, and that's okay.
For
Yeah.
me, so the play calling is second to me. The biggest thing for me in these first three games is there has been a coaching gaffe in all three of them that you're just like, what the heck is this guy doing? Because, I mean, you could take the drops and the blocking and be like, okay, Calvin Ridley's probably left 150 receiving yards out there that he could have caught. Chig has left, 70.
Both of them have been terrible.
Yeah. The blocking, obviously, Latham going down. You're either your best or your second best offensive lineman, depending on where you put Skoronski, goes down halfway through the first game. So the coaching gaps, the week one where he's throwing it 3 times inside the 10, and one of them's a screen pass where I think it was Calvin that was supposed to step back, didn't step back to catch that ball. Then the second week when you're like, oh, we're on the 30, let's not go for a touchdown with a minute to go. And then obviously last week with the timeout delay again, which I cannot fathom how that happens.
Yeah,
No.
I think. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say you're thinking the same thing I was, that changing the play caller is not going to fix some of these gaps. It's not going to help him decide when he needs to throw a challenge flag. It's not going to help him not kick a 64-yard field goal. It's not going to help penalties. It's not going to help some of the discipline issues on this team. So I don't see how changing the play caller.
You are
fixes-
hoping for that, right? Like if he's not calling offensive plays, maybe I don't want to say more involved in the game, but maybe he is, because he has that off his plate. And he's not even that good of a play caller, right? He's struggling in that area. He's feeling the stresses of that. But if that is off his plate and he's just simply watching the game and doing the head coach normal duties, should that be something that improves regarding situational football?
I believe so, and I believe you give him a few weeks to at least see, right? I think that's kind of what Amy's waiting on. Maybe there's a miraculous turnaround with this change here. I mean, I don't foresee it happening. A lot of issues on this team, but I guess you give him a shot and see, right? See if maybe just him focusing on just simply the head coaching duties.
Yeah, I am like I said that I don't think there's going to be any major changes in terms of how the offense is run, but there's got to be some, right? There's got to be some, because I understand the Titans, they have a lack of talent. They have a lack of discipline. They love to commit penalties, but there's one, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here, but CBS Sports Research gave me one thing that I want to bring up, and that's that the Titans have ran 86.4% of plays out of 11 personnel this season. So that's 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. And that's such a high rate. It's 10% higher more than any other team in the NFL. And they are running more 11 personnel than any other team runs any other kind of personnel.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much they stick with one formation, basically. Right. So is that something that potentially changes with the offensive play call?
You would sure hope so.
I'd like it too, because I'd like to see Gunnar Helm more.
Yeah, and we get a lot of success on like play action rollouts and stuff. I'd love to see them do a lot more of that because Cam seems to thrive in that a little bit, with his style of play.
Yeah.
Or definitely not doing enough play action. And it's hard when you can't get the run game going, like especially against the Colts. You couldn't really get anything going on the ground. But there needs to be more play action. There needs to be some pre-game, pre-snap motion. And I think that's something that Bo brings to the table. He started doing a lot more of that in Oakland or Las Vegas, whenever he took over. Obviously, like how they build the game plan stays similar. But I think part of the play calling is not just the plays, it's the flow. Can you get into a flow? Can you call something in the first quarter because you're setting it up in the third quarter and remembering what the defense did and stuff like that? So I do you hope that, if Brian doesn't have to concentrate on getting the play out and whether or not I should challenge this play or not, let me look at the clock and figure out my time management. Because, it is you have 30 seconds to figure that stuff out. So if he can just take the play calling away and concentrate on that, maybe just not a great multitasker.
Hopefully that's the case, right?
Yeah, it's been egregious, man. There's no excuses for some of it.
But I will say, I think you mentioned this. It's that this is just another nail in the coffin. A guy you brought in the offensive mind to call the plays, and now you are not good at it, and you have to give it up to a guy who's done it in 9 games in his entire life.
Right.
It's tough.
Sorry about the bad.
We're just listening to the ambiance. The local fire.
They're coming to pick up Brian Callahan.
So let's just say hypothetically that the Titans end up winning this game on Sunday, and it's in large part because of the change of play caller. Does that expedite Brian Callahan on being moved on from, or does that give him a little bit more leeway? Like if Bo Hardigree comes out and is just killing it.
My opinion on that is that it actually helps him because we don't know who actually made that decision, but this is as a general manager of the general manager of the team, you're making the decision saying, I'm not doing a good enough job at this. I can delegate. Now what has to happen is you cannot have these coaching screw ups anymore. So if the offense does well and there's less penalties and you don't screw up the control of the clock, then that's what it is. I don't think it's necessarily just does the offense do good or not. I think all eyes are on his game management skills now.
If you win a game, it does not hurt the head coach. That's bottom line. So maybe he's one of these offensive minds that's not a play caller. And there's a couple of those around the NFL. There's one I can think of that just won a Super Bowl last year with Nick Sirianni with the Philadelphia Eagles. Remember when he was hired and he was terrible as a play caller and the Eagles were losing games and he gave those duties off to a guy by the name of Shane Steichen. And all of a sudden that team found success. Yep. So I think there's definitely a route where, I do not think it's very likely, but I'm saying if Bo Hardigree can spark this team by his offensive play calling, by switching up personnel, formations, who he's giving the ball to, I think that there is a path where they say, wow, okay, this makes sense. But Brian Callahan buys himself at least another game, another week, whatever it may be. And we could talk about his job security and maybe when that decision could come down later if you guys want.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to nail you down to the floor on it right here. When do you think it happens with this team and what we have and how things are going so far? Do you think it happens prior to the Patriots game, the week of, or after?
See, yeah, it's tough because I'd like to dissect all these possibilities because my answer is I don't know. And there's a couple reasons why I don't know. If you go out there and you lose 100-0 to the Texans, then yeah, Amy's going to fire you probably there. But I don't know how likely that is. The Texans are 0-3 for good reason. And the other part about this is that Tennessee is entering, I think it's a 3-game road trip, right? I'm pulling it up on my phone right now. A 3-game road trip. How many times do you see a head coach fired in the midst of a 3-game road trip? But I bring that up because when you finally return to Nissan Stadium, October 19th, who are you facing off against? Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. So what I came down to is what is the least embarrassing option for the owner? Is it firing the guy who replaced Mike Vrabel before he even got a chance to face Mike Vrabel? Or is it even embarrassing to fire him the Monday after losing to Mike Vrabel if we get to that point? Or do we give him a couple weeks after that? So there's a lot of different factors here. And I think you brought up this too. She doesn't care. She doesn't have this embarrassment factor when it comes to decision making. I would logically.
Sure, you should.
I would. So maybe everything I said does not even have any credence to how she's going to actually operate. But I will say this. I think he survives this week as we enter this entire road trip, unless the Titans just get absolutely blown out.
Yeah. Okay.
Blown out, and then there's a major coaching gap.
I
too.
think
You're
we're all
like,
in
this guy
agreement. He
just can't
doesn't
figure it out.
He doesn't make it through the season, though. I think we're all in agreement, right?
I-
I mean,
I-
unless we just turn it around and get, the offense going.
It's hard to say yes, right? Like it's hard to say, yeah.
Too many variables.
There's what optimism do you have for Tennessee moving forward? I guess it's the play of the young quarterback. But apart from that, it's no, we just keep losing games.
Yeah.
And why do we expect things to change after that? So if you're just going to lose game after game, then yeah, you're not going to make it through the season.
I think the one thing that kind of goes in his favor is trying to keep it just flat for Cam Ward through the season. Like they're like, well, let's not change a head coach for him because I mean you're going to change it anyway. Who cares? I guess, but I mean I'm not in the front office. I don't know how they're thinking.
Because you were preaching that Amy's not logical. Now you're saying that she might be about consistency.
I'm talking about Borgonzi, not Amy. I guess Amy has the final say. I mean, that's where the fire will come from. I don't know if it'll come from Borgonzi and Brinker.
I mean, if it's not coming from Amy, she's the one who has to be briefed on the situation from Borgonzi and Brinker, right?
Yeah.
And she has to sign off on it.
I guess, yeah, she signs off on everything. So, but is it her Borgonzi going to her, or is it her going to Borgonzi saying, "Oh, you don't need to do this"?
I find it really funny. He talks about, he's like, I have this weekly conversation. I'm talking about Callahan, this weekly conversation with Amy. I would love to hear what those conversations are like.
Grief. Yeah. I would love to be a fly on the wall in that locker room, just hearing the players.
So our franchise stinks now. In 2021, we were the number 1 seed in the AFC, and now we are the worst team in the NFL.
It almost feels like ancient history with everything that's going on.
It does. It does. I'm pretty sure I had hair back then, dude.
It wasn't that long ago. We were in the AFC Championship. Then the whole AJ Brown trade happened and stuff.
Yeah, that's the start of the downfall. I'm gonna throw a
Thank you, John
curveball at
Robinson.
you. Do you have any people in mind that you would want to coach this team next year?
Yeah, I actually, you know what's sad? I've already written this article. Like this article is ready to go. 5 guys to be the next Titans head
Let's
coach.
hear it.
Can I guess one?
You can guess one. I'm sure you'll get it.
Cliff Kingsbury.
That actually is one. That is definitely not my first choice, though. I think Cliff Kingsbury has really struggled with consistency. Like he had this NASCAR tempo offense with Jaden Daniels. It was very simple, but it was up tempo. No one could figure it out last year, and they found success. This year, in the limited action we've seen Jaden, it seems like teams have caught on a bit. And I would make the argument that during his tenure in Arizona, teams kind of caught on to his offense as well. So I say that to people in Washington too when I go on the radio there. But the number 1 target, in my opinion, and it's stereotypical. For some reason, people don't like this name as much as I think they should. But Joe Brady.
Okay.
Joe Brady, the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator. Quick timeline on him. In 2019, when he was like 12 years old, he was like the passing game coordinator of LSU. That undefeated team with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. He wasn't the OC, but he had a large part in the most powerful passing attack in college football. He was so good that the Carolina Panthers hired him to be an OC, I think at 30 years old or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he was part of the Matt Rule regime. So after 1 year, I forget who it was, might have been Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback there. They were okay. They were nothing fantastic. But Joe Brady got interview requests to be a head coach at different franchises.
Wow.
After 1 year as an OC, that wasn't even phenomenal. That's how intrigued by people are by this guy. He ended up being the scapegoat from Carolina, got fired. Buffalo Bills quarterbacks coach, promoted to OC. And if you guys remember a couple of years ago when he was promoted to OC, that Bills offense absolutely took off. So he's absolutely, in my opinion, number 1 on the coach big board, not only because he's an offensive mind, but he loves the NFL. I don't think he has much interest in going back to college, but that's probably the number 1 guy for me.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm just glad I didn't hear John Gruden's name.
See, I actually
His name
thought.
also always pops up when this happens.
I mean, I thought about including him, but I didn't. I didn't include him on this list. Maybe I'll go back and change it. I reserve that right.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm not high on Gruden.
I'm not saying he's a legend. I'm saying, well, he kind of is a legend. But I'm not saying like he would be a great fit for Tennessee. But you know what he does is he draws interest and eyeballs in this weird age of social media. He's a guy who goes viral every single week for opening up those coaching boxes from different programs and all this stuff. Don't you think that the Titans, who have always been an afterthought in the sportscape of the land of, the sports world, don't you think that they deserve someone who can drive attention?
Yeah, and I think that was what I was going to say, though. I think that's why I would have reluctance with Gruden, is I wouldn't want it to just be all the sizzle and no steak kind of deal.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Honestly, at this point, we've got no sizzle or steak.
Here's another one that I actually wrote about, and it's not a sexy name at all, but Mike McCarthy.
I don't hate that.
Okay.
Because he has experience as a head coach. And after Amy and, Borgonzi Brinker, Packers connection maybe, went through this entire fiasco of having someone who is not experienced, what if they do a 180 and go to the most experienced option? I think that is on the table, potentially. I don't know how excited I would be personally, but I do think that's an option that we consider.
I take him over Gruden. Honestly.
Sure. I mean,
he's had success more recently. Like John Gruden's greatest thing is, 21 years old now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he hasn't been coaching that whole time, but I tell you what, Mike.
Yeah, it's between McCarthy and Gruden. I'm kind of on the fence on that. I'd take either one of the guys.
Because Gruden drives the attention and the fun, and people start talking about the Titans again. That's something I would like to have.
Yeah.
But I think McCarthy is probably the better head coach.
And gosh, guys, we got a new stadium coming and stuff. I don't want that thing to be empty.
Yeah.
I want to be proud of my team, and I want to be in that stadium packed with some Titans fans, and I don't want all the freaking Texans fans coming and filling our stadium up.
Hi, Texans fan. No, I always love John Gruden because he's never run into a quarterback that he doesn't like. I don't know if you guys remember when he was doing ESPN, but it was literally every game he'd be like, let me tell you about this quarterback. All right. This guy's good. All right. And the guy will literally, he did that about Davis Mills.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, you're literally just blowing smoke right now. Like Davis Mills is, he's not terrible, but you don't need to give him a whole special segment.
I loved his QB camps and stuff, though. Patrick Mahomes intrigued me that year, man. I remember, I'd love for the Titans to take this guy. He seems like a guy that's got it between the ears, and he's a good kid, and we had gone through some stuff with Vince Young and some of these knuckleheads that cause problems and stuff. I like Vince Young and the Vince Young fans, but yeah, I used to love Gruden's QB camps and stuff like that, though. I can remember those very vividly. They were very fun to watch back then.
Okay, so we got Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McCarthy, Joe Brady. What are the other two you had on that list?
Oh,
We don't want to spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it. You need to click on the article and
come on.
actually read it, dude. That's how I get paid.
It's Jordan Dajani, CBS
I was
Sports.
trying to get in there. I had to throw it out there.
Well, what about you though? I'll throw it back on you. If Callahan gets fired, when he gets fired, who are your top three candidates?
Cliff Kings. I think those three: Cliff, Joe, and Mike.
Okay,
That's
so you're
where
on board with Joe too.
I agree. That's always been my thing with Cliff as well. As it seems like year two, he always gets figured out. And he doesn't adjust. So, but I was hoping that, hey, maybe, and it's hard to judge this season because Jaden's been hurt so much. But it does seem like he doesn't adjust year to year.
Just like in general.
Yeah.
And there's like one guy, maybe he's not a fit for Tennessee, but one guy I think is going to get considerable consideration for a head coaching gig this year or this offseason is Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator. Young dude, not much NFL experience. Jim Harbaugh brought him over from Michigan, and he immediately turned around that Chargers defense. That's a guy that executives absolutely have their eye on.
And a lot of times when teams change head coaches, they like to go the opposite direction. Like if they had an offensive guy, they'll go to a defensive guy. You see that a lot. So
I haven't even kept track of that, to be honest with you.
It happens a lot, especially like, hey, we had an offensive guy and it was struggling. We're going to go to a defensive guy and let somebody else control the offense kind of thing. It's not always that way, but you see it more times than not.
Yeah, I think I like the prospect of having maybe a a first-time head coach again, rather than one of the veterans we talked about, like a Gruden or a McCarthy. I would like to see what someone like a Brady has, or maybe even a Flores or something.
Brian
Or,
Flores,
yeah.
he builds a good defense for sure.
I think I like that better than trying to bring someone else in. I do like the prospect of McCarthy, though. When you bring that up, that kind of made my ears perk up a little bit. But but I think I'd rather go for somebody that's trying to make a name for themselves. It would be great if it'd be a young guy like Brady. That'd be great. I didn't know he was that young. That'd be great. I'd love another Sean McVay to come in.
Everybody wants the next Sean McVay.
Yeah.
I've got a curveball for you. This guy is actually the head coach of an NFL team already. It's not going well, but he is an offensive mind. And historically, at the team he's currently with, they have brought a lot of speed.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel.
I would see if we were to go with a defensive-minded guy like Jesse Minter, I'd be cool bringing Mike McDaniel in as the OC.
I mean, that'd be a home run. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome if they could swing that. No
If
doubt.
there's anybody who has a seat as hot as Brian Callahan right now, it's Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He would be the next hottest, I guess, if not hotter.
And he's still young.
I think I'm out on him as a head coach.
I think that's completely fair. I mean, the Dolphins have been figured out. Like, they're not physical. They're based on speed, and it doesn't seem like they have a guy that in the locker room that can get the most out of his players to get up and play for those big games. They basically lose to every playoff contender or Super Bowl contender, and they beat every lesser team. They beat them like a drum usually, like that Broncos game that was 72-10 or whatever. So I really like him. Like, and personally, I'm a fan of Mike McDaniel, but in terms of being a head coach, I'm kind of with you. So if you can score him as an OC with a defensive-minded head coach, that'd be super intriguing.
You kind of said that. You kind of touched on what I was. I wonder how much his players respect him. It's kind of my problem with him.
And I'm sure he tries to be a player's coach. I understand.
I like him too.
I understand that. Like, I'm sure he tries to be a player's coach, and you have Tyreek Hill getting in trouble 10 different times for different things, and there's nothing talked about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's very tough. You have to be able to forge your own identity, implement your own culture with the franchise, and be that lead man. It doesn't seem like he's done that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's fair. I know that I want him. If we move on from Nick Caley, I wouldn't mind Mike McDaniel in Houston as the OC.
Take it to your own podcast.
Yeah, can you get out of here, dude?
Hey, I'm just saying.
Mike McDaniel lands as an OC in Houston.
So
I will be sick.
The difference between Brian Callahan and Mike McDaniel is if and when he gets fired middle of the year, end of the year, his chances of becoming a head coach again are pretty low.
Yeah,
Mike McDaniel has done enough that if he comes here and the offense is he's done enough where people are like, oh, we'll take a chance on him again. Maybe he learned. So he's done enough in his first year and a half there, before all the Tua concussions and everything. He could get another chance eventually. I think this would be a chance for him to come back and revitalize.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a couple of years between that. Maybe I think he has to come and kind of establish himself as a coordinator again and kind of have some good years before. But I do agree with that. I'm not sure we'll ever see Callahan at the helm again.
And I get the allure of trying to get young guys to come in and be your OC because you think they're going to come and look at the league in a different way and call plays a little differently than what you've been accustomed to. But after, from my perspective, after watching 2 rookie OCs come in and never called plays before, and there's all sorts of hiccups and there's all sorts of issues, I'm team veteran OC at this point. Like, give me somebody who's got experience doing the job. I'm tired of the rookie nonsense. It's just me, though.
That's understandable, man.
Well, so let's go ahead and get into this game coming up Sunday.
Absolutely.
Injury report, Latham out again. They said he feels good. They just want to give him more time.
The Sweat playing?
I guess they don't want to give Cam Ward more time.
What happened
to
with
throw,
Sweat? I know. We kind of know, but Titans fans are asking about that because he seemed like he was fine, ready to go. You talked to him on Wednesday or Tuesday, maybe it was. Said if it's up to him, he's going to play, and then all of a sudden he's on IR. So was it just a re-injury of the ankle, or what's going on there?
I'm not 100% sure if it was a re-injury. It might have been. I know that he suffered an ankle injury, and things didn't. I don't think the test maybe came back as well as the medical staff wanted them to. And it came down to that point where they said, this guy's dealt with a lot. Like, right? Didn't he have an oblique or abdomen injury? Then he got his tonsils out. Now he's dealing with an ankle injury. This is a big dude. So they said, let's just put him on short-term IR and give him 4 games to rest. So that's not ideal, naturally. We talked about it earlier. He's my cornerstone of my defense in the future. I'd like for him to be, but he's going to miss the next few games.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's going to put a big presence in the run defense. So that's going to be missed over these next few weeks. He's one of the better run defenders in the league in his second year, even.
Well, at 360, he better be.
So, once again, like I said, Latham's out. John Njoku gets a start, but then they promote full-time Brandon Crenshaw Dixon out of Florida, who I actually liked as an undrafted guy. I think his strength is pass blocking because he's so big. He's like 6'7". Do we see Brandon Crenshaw Dixon this weekend?
I think you do, but he's going to be the swing tackle. So if something happens left to right, he'll probably come in. He was a super intriguing undrafted free agent out of Florida. No doubt about it. But what's concerning is that he did not do enough to the coaching staff to prove that he's better than Oli or OJ, right? So now all of a sudden, Oli and OJ are struggling, and now Crenshaw Dixon is brought up off the practice squad. So I'd like to see what this kid is worth, because right tackle has been a turnstile ever since Latham has been there, and Dan Moore is not helping at all. I think we do see him in some kind of capacity in terms of just getting snaps.
Especially because we're about to go up against 2 elite pass rushers. So
Yikes.
I would take a guy half as good as Will Anderson on this team.
Yikes. Yeah, that kid's an absolute monster.
Yeah, people were tapping Dan Moore on the back a little too much, in my opinion. That they were saying he had a nice game this last week, but those that front line for the Texans is no way the same as the Colts. So it's going to be a lot bigger test.
You looking serviceable is not a big win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
And we're not going to pat him on the back for doing half his job. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, you blocked late too. Here's Will Anderson.
Yeah, the Colts pass rush is obviously just not up to par, in my opinion, either.
Absolutely.
You remember they took Latu over Jared Verse, and their general manager laughed about it. They just gave us the best pass rusher in the class. Great joke.
So the Texans injury report a lot shorter than the Titans, though, this week. There's not a lot going on there, Curtis.
Yeah. Really, the big question is Derek Stingley, is if he's going to be able to make it. He's questionable at the moment. I could see a world where they sit him out. I don't think that they're super worried about Calvin Ridley just torching him. I think that between Kamari Lassiter and Kalen Bullock, and honestly, I guess we're on the second or third string safety, MJ Stewart, because we got rid of CJ Gardner-Johnson because he didn't ever learn the playbook.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
I mean, apparently, obviously the Texans have lost 3 games, just like the Titans have, but the Texans have lost 3 games by, 1 score. And every single game, you can actually pinpoint a particular mess up of CJ Gardner-Johnson turning into points. So him trying to just sell out to cover a flat route and then just getting cooked over top pissed off D'Amico enough where they finally made a move. But Titus Howard was sick all week. He's going to be playing. My biggest thing this week actually is probably the Texans' weakness versus the Titans' weakness. Which weakness is the weakest, I guess would be the proper way to phrase it. But the Titans don't really have a pass rush that scares me, and the offensive line for the Texans scares me. So
you'll be fine.
I mean, something's got to give.
Jeff Simmons might get a couple sacks, but that's about it.
That's true.
He's been through all as bad as our pass rush has been.
Jeff
Simmons has been playing outstanding, and nothing to show for
making
it.
penalties in big
he has
moments,
been playing really well.
How worried are you about the secondary? Because you guys have like 5 defensive backs total who are active, right?
Yeah. So we got Kalen, MJ.
But MJ's on the report, right?
MJ Stewart? I don't
Maybe
think so.
I made that up.
I don't think so. He might be, but we can pull it up real quick.
The value of having Google at your fingertips.
Isn't it
Figure
nice?
it out real fast.
Isn't it nice? Can you imagine what people were doing in the 80s? Somebody get out a dictionary.
But you're not worried about that because Calvin Ridley struggled.
Calvin Ridley's been struggling. Now, you don't want to be the game that Calvin gets right, but
No, I think I made up MJ Stewart being on the injury report.
yeah, so Nico is full go. Jake Andrews, our center, is full go. Titus Howard is full go. The only person who's questionable is Derek Stingley.
What was the first name you said?
Nico.
Who?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In the words of Legarius Sneed.
Legarius Sneed about
Who?
to get cooked by that man.
Hey, with your offensive line, Femi Oladejo might get his first sack this week.
Hey, it's definitely possible, but
He almost got one week 1 when I predicted, man. That was close.
I heard yesterday that Mullings was put on IR.
Mullins, yeah, he's on IR. That's when they brought Crenshaw Dixon up. They were elevating. Was it Jordan Mims, the running back that's on the practice squad? They elevated whoever's the practice squad running back is for the game. Hopefully Tajay is back next week. That gives Pollard a chance to rest a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think although Pollard can catch the ball out of the backfield, Tajay is more of that kind of style player. If he could stay healthy for longer than 2 weeks, it'd be great.
So what's the key to a big upset victory in the AFC South? What's one thing the Titans have to do
Make CJ Stroud uncomfortable, man.
with Femi and Arden?
It's incredibly
They
easy.
can, man.
It's incredibly
They
easy.
can.
I think you're
It's
going
gonna
to
be
see some
tough,
blitzes.
man. It's going to be a tough season. So, not the best offensive line on either side, but like Curtis kind of touched on, there's not much of a pass rush going on in Tennessee right now. So, I think they have the edge in that sense.
I would answer my own question by saying the passing game taken off. I think Cam Ward just put his first game on record with 200 passing yards. Massive achievement, I guess, but he's not the first number 1 overall pick quarterback to start 0-3. As I mentioned, the Texans secondary, Derek Stingley Jr. is not healthy. CJ Gardner-Johnson's a free agent now. If Alec Iamaner gives some touches to DK, if Calvin Ridley learns how to catch again with those glasses he's wearing at practice, and Gunnar Helm becomes an element of the passing game, Chico Conco can add some yak. The passing game itself, I think, is key for a Titans victory.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see a lot of quick passes because you're not gonna have a lot of time in that backfield. So hopefully Bo can scheme up some underneath routes, some quick screens, get the ball in DK hand and just let him be a playmaker.
Absolutely.
And then once you do that a couple times, that's when you take that shot to Ellick when they're least expecting it. Fake a screen and Ellick goes long. And I don't like him one-on-one against everybody on that team except for Derek Stingley. He's a go up and high point the ball, bring it down kind of guy. I think you're going to see some blitzes going towards you because if CJ's shown one thing this year with that offensive line is that he does not do well with pressure coming in his face. So I don't know if we get pressure with 4. Like I said, like Curtis said, it's week on week. But Denard's talked about, hey, we need to throw some more blitzes and pressures out there to counteract what we're not getting from our edge rushers. So I think you're both right, honestly. I think you touched on the offense, you touched on the defense.
Yeah, some guys like Arden Key and Draymond Jones got to show up, man. Some of those veteran guys that we picked up, well, Arden Key been here a couple years, but Draymond Jones, I've hardly heard his name this year. Some of those guys are going to have to step it up this week.
So what does Curtis think? What's the Titans' path to victory?
It's actually a kind of a combination of everything you guys have said. I think you got to get after CJ. You got to make him uncomfortable, which is an incredibly easy task. At times, the man is just like had a clean pocket and felt the imaginary pressure and made bad throws. So sometimes you don't even have to get there. He's just got to be in his own head about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm worried that we're gonna David Carr this kid, really, really bad. But beyond that, I think if you can get the run game going, the Buccaneers were able to get it going pretty easily against us, but they've got a little bit more of a bruising style running team there. If you can do that, control the clock, I think you guys could win a low scoring game. 17-14 kind of score. I think that's the key to victory is you don't want to try to get into a shootout with the Texans or a scenario where the offense for the Texans actually looks good for the first time this season. you want to continue to stifle everything that Nick Haley's trying to do, and that begins and ends with CJ Stroud.
You know what's crazy to me is I have never seen two teams that haven't won a game and one team be favored by more than a touchdown. Isn't that wild? The Texans are favored by 7.5.
Yeah, I saw something with ESPN Research did something saying it's the first time since 1990, I believe. But I mean, let's be real. I think the spread is warranted. I'm still taking the Texans minus 7.5. If I'm being honest with you,
Yeah, I agree.
you just traded away a starting cornerback. Your right tackle is injured. Your defensive tackle that's young is on IR. Cam Ward hasn't been developing maybe at the speed that you wish he would. There's a lot of things that we can nitpick about this 0-3
The
team.
morale is not there either.
Now-
the team's not.
That's something I was going to ask. Is I wanted to know a little bit about what you guys thought about Cam Ward's development through 3 games. I've seen, he's making the easy throws, and he's also not afraid to push the ball downfield. But obviously, the pocket collapsing on him as often as it doesn't bode well for a lot of the play design. So, what is y'all's general opinion?
So if I'm being honest with you, I don't think that we can say we've seen progress game to game to game.
Okay.
I don't think you can objectively say that. I think he took a step backwards against the Rams. I think against the Colts, he took a step forward in terms of his first 200-yard passing game, which is cool. Doesn't matter in the grand landscape of things. But I think that if I had to evaluate him so far, he's given you plenty of reasons to be optimistic. He's got the arm talent. He's confident. He's a leader. He's someone who's not going to back down. Those are things you want in your franchise quarterback. If there are a couple of areas I can nitpick, there's going to be some natural ones, like don't throw a pick 6 to Kenny Moore on the first play of the game. But also, the ball speed. Have you guys ever talked about this? Like the ball speed on some of his passes?
It's incredible, the velocity.
Like
man.
he likes to try some of those tight windows. And if you're throwing a tight window throw, you have to fire it in there.
Yep.
But it also makes it just a little bit tougher for the wide receiver to catch, especially on a route that should be a touch throw that maybe he was late in his progression getting to.
Yeah.
So that's where I would nitpick. That's not a big issue in my opinion, because I think it's more impressive than not he's getting the ball to those tight windows.
Yeah.
But I think overall fans are excited about what he's brought to the table through 3 games.
And he gets that ball in there sometimes with that shortstop sort of arm, man.
Oh, yeah.
These crazy angles he throws the ball at sometimes, throwing under the defender's arms and stuff with their hands up and stuff. I love seeing that stuff. That stuff just tickles me to death. I love that.
At least you're not getting
backyard sort of style.
At least you're not getting those floopty dupes.
Yeah. Well, he did do a couple flippy dudes, but they worked out for him. That's the difference.
So I got an interesting stat on CJ Stroud I saw this week, man.
All right, hit me.
So in Anthony Richards' 15 career starts.
Oh, here we
8-7,
go. I've seen this one.
21 total touchdowns and 13 interceptions. CJ Stroud's last 15 starts, he's 6-9, 15 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
Anthony Richardson also gets a lot of rushing touchdowns.
Hey, we're not Anthony Richardson.
All I'm saying is he's a running back.
I'm just
He's a tight end that
I
runs the
just
ball.
found that one interesting. I saved that for this weekend. And what's up with CJ Stroud, man?
There's been no semblance of offensive line, with the exception of his rookie year.
Do you feel like he misses Tank Dell a ton? Because I do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that, part of the issue with the offense is that Nico Collins is the only one getting separation. And, when Tank Dell was available, he was the other person getting separation. He would find the weak spot in the zone or whatever and sit there and wait on CJ to find him. We don't really have that right now. We've got Nico, who's drawing at least double coverage on every play. And then you've got Christian Kirk, who came back last week to rousing 8 targets for 3 receptions for like 15 yards. So, I mean, there's just not a lot of help at the moment. You're not getting much out of the running game. I mean, last year we kind of did, but it was like the defense is carrying this team 1,000%.
We've talked about it before, but I really want to see more from Woody Marks for y'all. Rather than the ghost of Nick Chubb, or obviously Joe Mixon doesn't seem like he even wants to be there. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not even sure what Joe Mixon's actual like injuries designation is. Something to do with his ankle, but it
Joe
happened.
Mixon doesn't know what's wrong.
It happened outside of football, and that's why he's not on an injury list. So we'll see with that one. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in Nick Caley at the moment. I haven't seen a lot of ability to put guys in really good situations. Had it not been for that really bad blown coverage against the Jaguars, I don't know that we scored a touchdown. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's rough to be a Texans fan right now. Just the
Hey,
same
well,
way
one
it's
of us
been
is
rough.
going to get a win this week. man.
Somebody's
No,
gotta
we're
win.
gonna tie.
3-3 tie. Every drive and overtime, we're like, this is the time someone's gonna score.
I did see something interesting on the Texans defense, though. They are allowing 17 points per game this season, which is tied for 5th in the NFL.
Yep.
It's the fewest points allowed by a team that's 0-3 since 2004.
Wow.
Yep.
And here's another one about the offense, just to make you feel bad. Houston has scored 0 touchdowns and just 9 total points on 4 red zone drives this season.
Yep.
They're the first team since the 2011 Jaguars without a red zone touchdown through 3 games of a season.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Swallow
Yeah,
that pill, Curtis.
it's crazy. Between Nick Caley not knowing what to do with the offense in the goal line situation, and then the actual struggles of even getting into the red zone. Yeah, I don't know exactly what we got to do to make that happen a little bit better, but we can't get consistent run blocking. We can't get consistent pass blocking. So it's been pulling teeth to essentially just get beyond the 50-yard line at times.
Yeah.
I mean, that Jaguars game last week was a snooze fest. It literally, the opening drive, we were able to move the ball. The Jaguars were able to move the ball downfield, and then nothing until the fourth quarter from either team. And it's not like the Jaguars defense is anything to write home about. They were just throwing just enough to confuse the offensive line to keep CJ Stroud from being comfortable at all. And that was the recipe. You know, it doesn't take much to beat the Texans right now. You just got to outlast their defense, because it doesn't matter how good your defense is. If your defense is on the field an extraordinary amount of time, eventually they're going to fold. And that's kind of been the MO lately. But I mean, even with all that, I mean, the Texans have been one play away from winning basically all 3 games.
Every game. And all those plays were allowed by CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Well, I mean, there was the Ryan Miller touchdown against the Bucks. There was the, oh God, what was it against it was a tight end.
I mean, ESPN literally wrote about it. They said there's 3 plays, 3 close games that directly contributed to the opponent scoring touchdowns, all by CJ Gardner-Johnson. And when he was approached about his fault in the scheme, he pointed the finger at someone else.
Oh, good grief.
said, I wanted to blitz more. It's like, what? Yeah.
That's not what the play calls for. That's not what you do. Okay, so we talked about our path to victory. What is the Texans' path to victory?
Texans' path to victory is the same thing it's been for everybody who's played the Titans so far. You know,
Y'all are only allowing
ex-
17
show
points
up.
per game, and we're probably
expose
gonna get about
expose
7.
the offensive line, get pressure on Cam Ward. Don't make it easy on him. Probably if we can get the same kind of rushing efficiency we got last week in Jacksonville, you know, about 4 yards a pop, I think that probably does it for us. And at this point, I don't even know if CJ needs to like take over the game. I think he just needs to play clean football.
I think the path to victory is simple. CJ Stroud, come back. Come back. You're going up against a lackluster cornerback room with no pass rush. This is the bounce back opportunity at home for you to get this passing game back on track. Nico Collins had his feathers ruffled by L'Jarius Sneed in the locker room. He's going to be motivated to make big plays.
Yep.
Christian Kirk is finally back, his second game back. So this is a great opportunity for us to sit down and say, okay, CJ Stroud, is the criticism warranted or is it not? Because I think your offensive line can hold up against Tennessee, and I think your wide receivers can find success as well. So this is a massive game for both teams, 0-3, AFC South. That's why I have the Texans winning.
And I've heard it mentioned a lot this week from the Texans' perspective. This is a get-right game. So and Titans could be in trouble this week if they come to play. And
Yeah.
It could potentially be a blowout for the
So-
Titans this week, I'm afraid, because the Texans have been right on the cusp. And
So he said it's a get right game. If it doesn't get right for CJ, if he keeps struggling, is there ever a point where like, should we try Davis Mills?
I don't know that you've got a clean enough slate essentially for anybody to just solely blame CJ
Yeah.
for all of this. There have been some obvious issues, but I don't think it's anything that's 1000% only CJ. I think there are a lot of other extraneous issues, but I think it happens at some point if CJ continues to not even remotely look like his rookie self. And how much of that is, what they're asking him to do now versus what he's asked to do then. Back then we were pushing the ball down the field in Bobby Slowick's outside zone running scheme, and now we're doing a little bit more of a Patriots style offense where it's okay. Let's get 4 or 5 yards this play, run a quick out, run a quick little, stop route in the middle of the field by the tight end, get 4 or 5 yards. That's their whole thing, and then they're hoping that that'll open it up deeper downfield. To stop CJ has been pretty simple. You just run cover 2 and you double up on Nico. So there's a lot of different schools of thought about, when and where do you kind of pull the plug on CJ, but I don't think we're there yet.
well, on the other side of that, we've talked a lot about Callahan. If
Yeah.
the trend continues with the Texans this year, what does D'Amico's seat look like?
D'Amico's seat is fine because it's not his side of the ball that's struggling.
Yeah.
Now Caserio, the GM, I think he would be in pretty hot water, generally speaking. The dude is, struggled to bring in offensive linemen in the free agency that were anything worth a flip. He struggled to bring in offensive linemen in the draft that were anything worth a flip. I mean, at this point, we've had 3 second-round draft pick offensive linemen, 1 first-round draft pick offensive lineman, and a couple later-round guys. And the later-round guys are actually the only ones playing. Ariante Ursari's playing at left tackle because Cam Robinson is Cam Robinson, and you're really just paying him his insurance. But Juice Scruggs has not lived up to his second-round billing. Blake Fisher has not lived up to his second-round billing. And then you got Jarrett Patterson late, and Ariante was the second rounder this year. So Caserio's made a lot of bad moves. I don't think Ursari's had enough time to necessarily be one of those bad moves, but Fisher and Juice Scruggs for sure seem to be kind of a waste of a pick at this point. Those are the people on the hot seat in Houston.
So it's more of a front office.
Yeah,
kinda hot seat
I would
rather than-
imagine Caserio's time. If the season doesn't turn around, I could imagine Caserio getting fired at the end of this year, and then they try to find somebody who kind of complements D'Amico a little bit more.
Have you thought of anybody you might want to bring in?
Now the GMs are kind of harder to keep track of.
Mhm.
Like I didn't know who Mike Borgonzi was
Yeah,
until he got
I can't lie
hired.
to you and tell you I knew who that was before.
He was one of the
He's been a
top
Yeah.
5 GM prospects over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a reason I knew who he was. The other reason was because he was with the Kansas City Chiefs,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
current dynasty. So you look at some of the executives in that front office and say, what have they learned during the course of this massive rise to success
Mhm.
that they could potentially bring to your franchise? So I think you're right. I think it's impossible to identify and analyze GM prospects, but that was a guy whose name was definitely.
Yeah, I just
available.
remember him being around for a couple cycles. We can offer you a slightly used John Robinson.
How about no?
There's not many general manager retreads, right? Like if you get one shot, and if you
don't-
fail, you're done.
yeah, look at Trent Baalke.
Who?
Boys, who would have thought that the Colts would be sitting here? All the talking off season. They were probably
I don't
the
think
team I was least worried about this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think most of us assumed that Anthony Richardson would be starting.
Yeah,
And then his
yeah.
injury and allowing Daniel Jones to become the starter. And then even it's Daniel Jones. We were not expecting him to
Yeah.
play efficient
No
football, but
disrespect.
he is in the best situation he's been in his entire career. best offensive line. He's got weapons out the wazoo. I mean, he's. I don't know that Jonathan Taylor is necessarily a Saquon equivalent, but he's not too far
He's
off.
like the ultimate game manager right
Yeah.
now, man.
And that's all he needs to be. You know, the Colts don't need him to be Peyton Manning. They need him to be Daniel Jones, clean
Alex Smith.
football. Yeah, Alex Smith.
Well, see, I actually disagree. Like when the day the Colts signed Daniel Jones for $14 million, I said, that's your new quarterback. There's
Yeah.
going to be a quarterback battle. There's no doubt about it. But after what happened in 2024 with Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones was brought in to replace him. He entered that competition as the favorite. To your point, Anthony Richardson got injured in training camp, which certainly opened the door more open than it previously was. But what
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is doing is simply doing the things that Anthony Richardson could not. He's
Exactly.
hitting open wide receivers. He's running the offense. He's taking care of the football. He's getting it out quickly. That is something Anthony Richardson struggled with mightily.
Mhm.
So
Not
as soon
overthrowing the check down.
as soon as you have a stabilizing force at the most important position, that makes life easier on the offensive line. That makes life easier for one of the best running backs in the NFL, and Jonathan Taylor.
Mhm.
Easier for the wide receivers. Easier for the defense because they're not on the field the entire game.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's exactly what their GM and Shane Steichen were hoping for when they signed Daniel Jones, and that's come to fruition.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big turnaround for those guys. And I think we all, like we said, we all thought Anthony Richardson would be starting at that time. But yeah, Daniel Jones has come in
Table.
having a
Titans
having a career year, maybe in his best position he's ever been in.
The next Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, all those things.
Yeah,
I'm not
we're
ready to say that because, like, if I'm being completely objective, he's just run the offense well. I don't think he's done anything incredibly spectacular that has him in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Some
Ultimate
people are-
game manager, man. He's game managing at a high level.
And that's not an insult. You know what I mean? Game managing is one of those necessary attributes of successful quarterbacks like Tom Brady. So,
Yep.
not saying Daniel Jones was Tom Brady, of course, but he's someone who is also making plays with his legs. Like that dual threat ability is definitely evident as well. So, this is what the Colts were hoping for. Having that consistent presence under center, run our offense, give the defense a break. We're going to be a contender in a really bad division.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And it's wide open in this division, and they're taking it so far, man. So it looks like it's between the Jags and the Colts.
Yeah. So
far.
what about the Jaguars? Because I was asked on 104.5 yesterday, are the Jags a wild card team? And I didn't know. I leaned towards no, and I said, listen, playing in the AFC compared to the NFC is a different monster, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I agree.
It's tougher to get a wild card there. But what I said also was their defensive front for Jacksonville is actually making plays.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. Their cornerback play is very inconsistent, though. And you probably realized that when you watched them in person this past weekend.
Yeah.
The offense has not been in rhythm, but when I watch them, I say they may have the pieces here. We know what Brian Thomas Jr. is capable of.
Yep.
Bit of Travis Hunter sprinkled in. Maybe he plays more full-time wide receiver. I don't know. They got a good tight end. Travis Etienne's kind of been a revelation. Is he
Yep.
not top 5 in rushing entering this week?
Yeah, I believe
So
so.
the pieces are there.
They're like, what are you called?
This is a really professional sign. This is amazing.
Yeah.
You get this at
I wish the
Kinko's
people,
or
I wish the people at home could read it. But it's a good
Amateur
time.
hour
It's a
up
good
in this
time.
joint.
Oh crap. What were we talking
The
about?
Jags.
Oh, yeah, the Jags.
top 5.
if the
Um,
Jags could potentially make a wild card.
They could potentially. I mean, some things would have to break right. I think the AFC West has a good shot of putting 2 or 3 in.
Yeah, some of those teams aren't performing exactly how people had thought.
Yeah,
but,
and then I
Let's
think,
lock in 3. I might lock in 3 from the AFC West right now.
okay.
and then you've
Like
got
what? So what? The
probably
Chargers,
the Ravens.
Broncos,
Just not the Raiders.
It's not the Raiders. Okay, that's what I thought.
probably the Ravens. You've got the Bills. Yeah, and then whoever ends up winning the South, I don't know. At one point I was really high on the AFC South, thinking we might have 2
Yeah,
that could get in, but I don't think the Jaguars have played solid enough teams yet to sit here and be like, oh, these guys are definitely for real. I mean, the Panthers game
Was a
what are we going to glean from that?
nothing.
What are we going to
I'm just not a
glean?
believer in Trevor Lawrence either, man.
And then they get torched by Jake Browning and the Bengals.
Yeah,
That was a crazy game.
I as soon as Joe Burrow got hurt in that game, I was like, oh, Jags are going to win this. And
Yeah.
then No, not even close. Jamar Chase was like, hold my beer and won that game. So the Jaguars are confusing. I think division games are tough, and you're usually going to play those games tough anyway, even if you're in the middle of a terrible season. But I don't have faith that the Jags are there yet. And, some things could change. Usually you don't know the full identity of a team until like week 6.
You want to hear a hot take?
All right, hit me.
Jaguars are upsetting the 49ers this week.
Dang, that is a hot take.
49ers have injuries all across the board. Brock Purdy's making his return to the lineup. I doubt he's 100%.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, in fact, I don't think is an option for this game. I think he's injured as well with his knee that flamed up in the preseason. So what I said, I think that with Jacksonville, it comes down to that offense finally getting into a rhythm, and that's what they brought Liam Cohen in for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons to doubt Trevor Lawrence and this offensive attack in general, and Brian Thomas Jr. with how disastrous this year has started. For sure. That's absolutely logical. But man, if that can actually get on the same page, when I watch the film, I really do think they have the pieces here necessary. Can they put it together?
Yeah.
Brian Thomas is kind of having the same kind of, like, not the same exact issues as Calvin, but oddly similar.
Well, he's scared of contact, and I think he got hurt. I think that's a reason why. That Bengals game was hard to watch him, man. He was one of the interceptions was on him. Another one was on Walker Little for allowing pressure off the left side.
Hunter, I'm sorry.
No, Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas.
I'm sorry.
So he's another guy that has to get, for lack of a better phrase or cliche, his head in the game, because we know what he's capable of.
Yep.
So he says he's taking the Jags. Let's get score predictions for that game and the Colts game while we're here.
I mean, we got time.
Yeah. So 49ers, Jags. You guys give us, actually throw out a number on that one?
Yeah, I wrote it, so I got to find it, make sure I'm consistent with myself. How about you?
I'm going to go 24-17 49ers.
I officially wrote 27-24 Jaguars. Spread is 3.5, I think.
What's the over under?
Could not tell you.
That's a fair point. I'm going to go 49ers 20-17.
Okay.
I'm going to go 28-24 Jaguars in a close one.
I mean, it's reasonable.
So what about the Colts? Like, that's 3.5 Rams coming off that disastrous 19-point collapse in the second half against Philadelphia. Are they going to show up motivated against an undefeated team? Is this finally where Indiana Jones comes back to earth?
That's what I'm thinking.
I think this has to be the first time we see the Colts kind of stumble.
I think so.
This is the best quality opponent that they've played so far.
Correct.
The best defense. All of the boxes are kind of checked for this game. Yeah, I'm definitely going with the Rams on this one. I think they kind of bottle up the Colts offense pretty well. I'm going to go Rams 27 to I'm gonna pick a weird number, 27-19.
This is probably my hate for the Colts, but this is the week. I'm gonna go Rams 30-17.
I got 30-24 Rams. I think that there's two traps that bettors are going to fall into this week. There's two interesting 3.5 spreads. Rams, Colts, Buccaneers, Eagles. The Buccaneers have Jalen Hurts' number. I think they're 4-1 against them, including playoffs. But, dude, Baker Mayfield, he's questionable on the injury report with the biceps. He's not going to have Mike Evans. He already lost 2 starting offensive linemen as well. They had that close game against the New York Jets.
Yeah.
So I think the Eagles, who have not had Saquon Barkley in these matchups against Tampa Bay, by the way, actually get on track and they continue their successful season.
I think I had 27-24 for the Rams over the Colts. I think Daniel Jones gets his first loss of the season. That's a tough defense. And I think the Rams come in there and get a big win after a tough week.
Is Daniel Jones the MVP so far?
No.
Who's the MVP right now?
Someone basic like Josh Allen.
Yeah. Got to be Josh Allen.
Josh Allen
or Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is probably the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year at this point.
Yeah. Man, you guys remember that last time that a running back won MVP?
It was Adrian Peterson off the torn
I was
ACL.
gonna say AP, right?
It's been so long. It feels like it's now just a quarterback award.
It is.
It's kind of
Yeah, I
whack.
watched a great YouTube video just yesterday, actually, of where are the 6 players now that were drafted above Adrian Peterson.
Oh, actually, I watched that same video.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can name any of them. 2007 was that Jamarcus?
I wish I had the
Yeah,
chat.
that was
on. I thought
Jamarcus.
so I could shout
It
out.
was, I think, LeBron Landry was drafted before
Was he
him.
that safety dude? He was a menace.
Was that 07?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2007. Because I remember being like, dang.
With the number 1 overall pick in the 2007 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders selected Jamarcus Russell.
Yep.
Number 2, Lions, Calvin Johnson,
That's a
Joe
good one.
Thomas at 3,
Good one.
Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Gaines Adams, 4 for the Buccaneers. Levi Brown, don't know who that is, for the Cardinals.
He was a
LaRon
tackle.
Landry, Redskins. And then Adrian Peterson.
You got 2 Hall of Famers right there.
Yeah, you got 2 of them.
Calvin Johnson and Joe Thomas.
LaRon Landry looks really bad looking at this list.
Yeah.
He was a
I
Pro Bowler in 2012, but
I don't even know who Gaines Adams is.
I know. I was like, who?
Yeah.
Gaines Adams, unfortunately, is no longer with us.
Oh, rest in
yeah, he
peace.
passed
Rest in
away at
peace, Gaines
26.
Rest
RIP
in
Gaines.
peace, brother. Well, now I feel like I'm now I'm a
To a
terrible
brighter
person. Yeah. Let's see.
So y'all want to run through and give our score predictions?
Hold on. I think we got some more notes to get in before we get in that
Yeah,
last
go
one.
ahead.
Actually, no, we don't. I think we pretty much talked.
All right, let's go ahead and hit our score predictions for Titans Texans.
Beautiful day out here, by the way, at the Halfbatch Brewery in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Absolutely,
sir.
Come
absolutely.
out here and check
Yeah.
it out. We appreciate them having us along here
Got
today.
cars for Casa in the parking lot. If
Yeah,
you're
I
into
think they're
classic
starting up
cars,
right around now.
yeah. I'm gonna choose the under on this game. I think this is gonna be a low scoring game. Just because the ineptitude of the Texans offense. So I'm gonna have the Texans winning. I think they're gonna score 20 points for the first time this season. 20-13. That would technically have the Titans covering.
I'm gonna go with a low scoring game as well. 15-9.
Wow. 15 to
All
9.
field goals.
Titans
All field goals.
I wanted
on
you
the
to
leg of Joey Sly.
I wanted you to pick a tie.
I was leaving that to you, man.
So I made Texans -7.5 a best bet. I'm leaning just a bit towards the over. 24-14.
24-14.
Okay. Okay.
So I've got the Texans 20-16, I think. Joey Sly is going to carry the load like he has all year. We'll get a touchdown and 3 field goals.
There you go.
Okay.
So I'm on my own here. Going
None
with
of those
Titans.
will be 64-yarders.
Bo Hardegree leading the Titans offense.
Play
to a
calling
win.
legend. Here he comes. Bo Hardegree. Remember the
63
name.
on the Chargers.
Well,
Never
do you,
forget.
do you think that that Bo Hardegree being the play caller for this game actually gives the Titans a little bit of an advantage? Or do you think it's going to be
I don't know
just kind of
about
the same old Brian Callahan offense?
So initially, I'm going to say no, because if you watch that press conference with Brian Callahan, I even tweeted out all of the quotes from it. He said, "I'm still involved with the process. This is not an indictment on my play calling. I'm still very confident in myself as a play caller." So he's going to be involved in terms of the formations and the play calling in general. But the plays actually coming in, that's going to come from Bo Hardegree. So that's why I brought up, I'm very interested. Is the personnel going to look differently? Are the touches going to look differently? Is DK going to get more involved? Is Pollard going to be more of a pass catching threat in this matchup? So I'm really intrigued to see what looks differently. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't think too much is going to look too different.
Okay.
You know, like it happened with the Raiders when Antonio Pierce got the job, where it's kind of gives you that new head coach bump. Is there a chance there's like a new play caller bump for the offense? Like there's a
I
little
don't
more
know.
confidence?
I'm going to lean towards no on that. I get where your head's at, but I'm not sure.
I'm just trying to be the optimistic fan here.
That's fair.
I can
So
smell it.
Another
yeah.
question I see a lot of Titans fans asking on YouTube comment threads, Reddit. Shout out Two Tone by God Pod, man. I like to follow that Reddit. And a lot of fans are asking, what does Lou Holes do, or Nick Holes, excuse me,
Lou
Nick
Holes.
yeah, Lou Holzberg.
He's retired.
But yeah, what does Nick Holes do? Is a question I've seen a lot in the comment threads, and I get that he doesn't have the experience in play calling and stuff. But what is his job specifically as the coordinator?
Shout out Lou Holzmer.
It's like
Right.
Arkansas is getting slapped by Notre Dame. My gosh. You have to buy my beers for the rest of the night. I don't have any more money, dude.
The first thing Jordan said to me is,
It's like, yo, I kind of like Arkansas.
What bets do you have? I like Arkansas minus 4.5.
What a
They're
joke.
down 14-3.
Listen, I had no confidence in Notre Dame's defense, but I forgot that Arkansas's defense was the worst in the FBS, apparently. All right, so what were we talking about? Okay, yeah. Nick Holtz, what does he do? Well, yeah, definitely. He's just like any other OC for a team where their head coach is the play caller. So like the Los Angeles Rams, for example, they're important when it comes to putting the game plan together, watching film, trying to see exactly what they're going to do with their offensive attack week in, week out.
Mhm.
I am not surprised. In fact, I'm glad that he was not the interim play caller because he has no experience doing so. So all the fans talking about why is Nick Holtz not the interim play caller? Well, he's just like when Brian Callahan arrived in Nashville. He's never done it before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, Bo Hardegree has not done it very long. I think 9 games total, but he does have experience in that sense. So
Exactly.
I thought that he was going to be probably the favorite to take over.
Yeah, I just wanted that question answered because I've
For
seen
sure.
that a lot this week.
Were you surprised at all that Mike McCoy wasn't given?
See, that was the other one. That was the other one. In fact, flying by the seat of my pants, I thought that he might have been the favorite because he's more of a veteran coach, I
Yeah.
think. So, but no, I was not surprised to see Hardegree.
You think it's more Bo over Mike McCoy because of his relationship with Cam?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You got anything else for us, buddy?
I mean, we still got about like 30 minutes.
Well, I got a question for you guys.
All right, let's
Hit
go.
us.
What do you think about Vikings Steelers tomorrow at 2 a.m. in Ireland? Whoever's going to be awake to watch that one.
Is that what
It's-
time it comes on?
2
No,
a.m.?
I'm exaggerating. It's,
Oh, I was about to say.
What is
I didn't realize it
what
was
does
in
that game
Ireland.
play on? Is that it's not Prime Video? Is it?
NFL Network always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually goes-
Okay,
goes-
it's the NFL Network. Okay.
So is Carson Wentz going to start a quarterback controversy in Minnesota with how bad JJ McCarthy has looked?
Dude, he looked so good like the second half, week 1, and he just looked miserable week
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And
I
the
was
Ste-
never high on him.
I think you're onto something, Jordan. I think Kevin O'Connell up there is kind of a quarterback whisperer. I feel like he's been able to get
really
the best
like
out
him,
of
by
whatever
the way.
quarterback. I think JJ McCarthy's still so green that he's going to have a lot of those rookie year bumps and bruises kind of thing. Obviously, he missed all of his rookie year last year because of the injury, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I think Wentz definitely makes this a full blown competition.
And in fact, Mike Tomlin in his press conference said he didn't say this specifically, but he said it without saying it. I would rather be playing JJ McCarthy than Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
He brought up playing the Colts last year, telling his defense, do not hurt Anthony Richardson because I don't want Joe Flacco to come in the game, is
Yeah.
what he told his defense.
Yeah.
So I think Carson Wentz, and that's a reason that Minnesota is actually favored in this matchup. I have chosen them as a best bet as well to cover 2.5 points. The Steelers, I don't know how many people are watching Pittsburgh, but let me tell you, this defense is not what we are used to. This
Yeah.
defense is not this sound force that can serve as the calling card for this team moving forward. The defensive line is giving up yards. The secondary has been inconsistent.
Yeah.
They needed 5 turnovers to defeat the New England Patriots by 7 points. The
Yeah.
Patriots were in that game until the very last drive,
Yeah,
and they
have not
turned the
been
ball
good.
over 5 times. So I'm going with Minnesota. I am just all in on Carson Wentz creating a quarterback controversy. JJ McCarthy's the future. Cool, whatever. I wasn't in love with him as a prospect either. But man, if Carson Wentz can, similar to Daniel Jones, provide that stabilizing force at the most important position, that's going to be something you have to move forward with.
Yeah. I'm taking the Vikings in that matchup. I think the defense for the Vikings does a lot more for me than the Steelers offense does. I know Aaron Rodgers is trying to chase history at the moment, but I just the Steelers feel like the retirement home of the NFL right now. Like everybody on their team is at least 30 years old.
Aaron Rodgers, Cam Hayward, Jalen Ramsey,
Darius Slay.
Darius Slay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And then they moved on from Minka and sent him back
But
down
they
to
have
Miami.
DK Metcalf. He's there to protect them all.
Yeah, I just need him to snag a couple for my fantasy squad, by the way.
No, I like the Vikings in this game as well. I'm such a fan of Kevin O'Connell. He'll figure out a way with any quarterback. I want to go back to the JJ McCarthy. I was never high on him. I don't understand how he went that high. It seems like when he was at Michigan, they were hiding him, not like shining on him. Not like he was. What was that game? Who was it against where they ran the ball like 42 times? You don't do that if you have an NFL ready quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, I did this like 5,000 word article the other week for week 2, I think it was.
CBSSports.com.
CBSSports.com, yes. It was because Trevor Lawrence was facing off against Joe Burrow and JJ McCarthy was facing off against Michael Penix. Those are 4 quarterbacks that faced off in championship games in college. So I looked at them as how they were evaluated as prospects, what that championship game was like, and what they are in today's NFL. And going through that process, I quickly figured out that McCarthy was kind of the least heralded guy coming out, especially in NFL circles. He was a great, as you mentioned it, game manager.
Right.
The identity of that Michigan team was them allowing 9 points a game from a great defensive effort and running the ball with Blake Corum. JJ McCarthy was never someone who was lighting the world on fire. So to spend a top 10 pick on a quarterback like that, I think is a huge gamble. And Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell, who I also really do like, sees potential in him and thinks that he can be a franchise quarterback to run his offense from a consistent perspective, I guess. I never saw him as someone who is going to be a game changer, someone who can take over and be in the MVP race once upon a time. Like, I really do think that he's someone that needs a lot of help around him. But granted, I think Minnesota has that.
Sure. Yeah.
they'll get even more when Addison gets back as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Kevin O'Connell saw. He's like, because he's game manager. One thing he did do was not make a ton of mistakes. Just so I think there's never thought the arm talent was there, like that at an elite level. But maybe that's what Kevin O'Connell wants, is somebody he said, just do what I tell you and don't make a mistake, kind of thing.
Yeah. And you can win that way if you have actually a really good defense and good weapons. I don't know when's the last time we've seen that in the NFL. Because I would make the argument.
Nick Foles, maybe.
Nick Foles is a really good example. I would almost
the Ravens in
Alex
01
Smith.
with the
01, yeah. I would almost make a case for Jared Goff
Jared
and that
Goff
Rams
and the
Super Bowl
Rams, yeah.
team, because he lit it up, but he wasn't necessarily like the best quarterback in the NFL. There's a path to victory for that, and I think it's good for teams to explore that, because nowadays it seems like you need Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes if you want to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the only path.
You could argue that's what Tannehill kind of was for us too.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
you
Yeah.
know, I like Kevin O'Connell a lot. I tend to root for him. I don't know why. There's something I like about him. I was never a McCarthy guy either. I'm just on the same exact bandwagon as you guys. I think he was kind of hitting a lot, and he had a great defense behind him. But sometimes, like you said, that's what you need, man. If that's what you have and the system you have, then
So Curtis, are we all on the same page? You're taking Minnesota too?
Yeah.
Well, that means Pittsburgh wins. So everyone cash in your bets now. Make your bets.
All right. I've got another couple for you. So battle of 1 and 2 teams that we all thought would be a lot better. The Chiefs and the Ravens.
Mm.
One of those 2 teams is going to be 1 and 3, just like the similar outcome here in the Titans Texans game. So which one, how are we feeling about the Ravens Chiefs?
So neither of these teams deserves to be 1 and 3. They're going to be playoff teams, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But this matchup comes down to the almighty injury report. The Chiefs are getting Xavier Worthy back. I think they might get Christian Fulton back in the secondary as well. As for the Ravens, I don't know if they're going to have Kyle Van Noy back. I think Nnamdi Madubuike, who was sorely missed against the Detroit Lions this past week, is not going to play as well. Jair Alexander might be back in the lineup, but we saw some clear deficiencies from this Ravens team when they were missing some starters on defense. And I have enough faith in Steve Spagnuolo to keep Lamar Jackson on edge as well. The game's in Arrowhead. Patrick Mahomes is an underdog. I think he's 11-5 straight up, 12-3-1 against the spread in his career as an underdog. So yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs in that one.
I think I'm going to take the upset, man. I think I'm not feeling the Chiefs this year.
The Chiefs would be an upset.
Yeah, the Ravens are favored.
Well, okay. Well, I'm taking, but they're at home, right? The Chiefs are at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking the
home dog
away team to come in and upset the home team is what I mean. But yeah, man, for my fantasy, man, do I start Xavier Worthy or Travis Kelce this week? Because I've got them both.
It matters who else you got. You're gonna have to pull up your roster, right?
I have Jaden Daniels, but I had to pick up Mahomes because
You had to pick up Mahomes in fantasy. Think about that. Oh, okay. I thought he was about to be a waiver wire guy.
Yeah, no, he's my back.
Mahomes on the waiver wire would be
I
wild.
mean, Mahomes hasn't been some kind of fantasy star over the past couple of years, right?
No.
But
I just wanted to. I needed a back.
I think Xavier Worthy, depending on the rest of your roster, might be worth a start because I really do think that they entered this season saying he is going to be a pillar of what we're doing. Tyquan Thornton's our deep threat. Hollywood Brown will be sprinkled in a bit. Travis Kelce's 45 years old now. So having Xavier Worthy, the speedster, they're going to use him a lot, whether it's these jet sweeps, these short middle routes that he doesn't run into Travis Kelce on in Brazil. He's
that was rough.
He's going to be a very important part of this offense. So I would consider him for sure.
I'm taking Ravens though. I think I'm going to take the Ravens to come in there and.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are a more complete team at the moment.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs are still kind of struggling to find what they are this season. But we got some comments here. Let's see. Brandon says, Joe Mixon has stage 4, I'm tired, boss. Mike Smith, he's from the Texans pod. He says Texans by 13.
Shout out, Mike.
Let's see. Kingmaker Sports says Vanderbilt sucks. That's kind of that's a stray.
Not this
We're just
year.
catching a stray.
Up by 10.
Indy fans thank the Vikings for fixing Indiana Jones. And then final question here is, who is the 2026 NFL draft first overall pick? The
Saints,
team,
and it's not close.
the team and the player. We'll get to figure that out because the Titans and the Saints play each other this year.
Saints, and it's not close.
Who's got the first pick?
Drew Aller, Lenore Sellers, and it's going to be the Saints.
If either like Sellers would be viable at number 1, Drew Aller should be like a 3rd round draft pick.
I'm just looking at like what draft.
Who would be the
experts
top
are
edge
saying.
rusher? I guess it'd be
Reuben Bain or TJ Edwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's the Titans, then
Reuben Bain.
it's got to be one of those guys, right?
That'd be awesome if Tennessee got the top pick. And they actually, in fact, I think they would probably sell it at that point.
Oh,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
get King's ransom.
But like right now, I'm looking at the odds. I believe these are accurate. There are co-favorites to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Garrett Nussmeier and Lenore Sellers. I'm not too sold on Nussmeier just yet. And I entered this year as the biggest Lenore Sellers fan in the entire world. But
Really?
I have not been incredibly impressed just yet. He had a great game against Missouri in his return to the field, but I can't get that first half against Vanderbilt
Yeah.
out of my head.
You're not
Yeah.
going to say it like that. That was
Hey, Vanderbilt's a
there
good
was
team.
a lot of attitude in that
Vanderbilt's,
Vanderbilt.
but you know what? I really thought that's at Lenore Sellers against Vanderbilt in South Carolina absolutely should have ran away with that game, to be honest with you. If
Yeah.
he remained healthy, he didn't, of course. But I really like his dual threat ability. I like his arm talent. I entered this year saying it's not Garrett Nussmeier, it's not Drew Aller. I was way more high on Lenore Sellers. But speaking about Drew Aller, massive opportunity tonight, right?
Yeah,
At
absolutely.
home against Oregon. Penn State, if you're a betting man, they have not covered the spread against these lowlifes that they've been playing over the past couple of years, past couple of weeks, I should say.
And
Yep.
James Franklin is the worst at winning a big game.
Yep, and
yeah,
that's
he
true.
really is.
But he has the backing of the best, maybe the best home environment in college football. Penn State at night. That's up there with like LSU,
It's
with
up there.
Tennessee as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Florida at night. Yeah.
So Oregon, their quarterback's not very experienced, right? It's his first
Yeah.
full season as a starter there. So I like Oregon in that matchup just because I've seen Penn State kind of play with their food against some of these lesser opponents. But Drew Aller is someone to watch for sure. But I'm going to put this out there. I don't want people to take it too seriously, but I see a lot of Zach Wilson with him.
Yeah,
Like he has that
okay.
elite arm talent. Like he catches the world on fire. People get so intrigued about what this prospect could potentially be. He does have more experience versus good opponents compared to Zach Wilson. but I just don't want to get too excited about him just yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's pivot a little bit, gentlemen. We've got it's college football Saturday, so let's talk about some college
Some good,
football
I
a
was
little
going to
bit.
say, man, some good games. I was going to piggyback off that.
We'll
man.
start off with one that's maybe not as not as high on the marquee. You got Tennessee and Mississippi State. It comes up here in about an hour and a half. So
The cowbell off.
yeah, well,
We did an article at CBS Sports this week asking all the analysts and writers, what are you most excited about for this week? Because it's a great week of sports, right?
Yeah.
You got the Ryder Cup. I think you've got MLB playoff stuff that I'm not paying attention to. You've got a lot of good college football games. Micah Parsons returned to Dallas.
yep.
And I said, no, the action is in Starkville, baby. It's about Mississippi State, Tennessee.
That's right, baby.
And I kind of mean that too, because Tennessee has, I think, a top 4 offense in yards per game, FBS, number 1 in the SEC. Mississippi State's defense, on the other hand, they're allowing like 11 points per game.
Yeah,
So something's
crazy.
got to give in this matchup.
Yeah.
And by the way, Joey Aguilar, who I've come to love for sure, Tennessee's
too.
new signal caller,
Yep.
this is his first true road test.
Mhm.
The first time he's wearing orange in a hostile environment. So how is he going to look in that matchup? I have Tennessee winning this game, but if you're giving me 7.5 points, I might be leaning towards the Bulldogs there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards the Vols. Vols make them I just haven't seen the offense be slowed down by really much of anything yet. The Bulldogs were probably the toughest defense they were going to go against all year.
Mm-hmm.
And it really didn't seem to slow them down all that much. I mean, yeah, there was a couple 50-50 balls that really, came down in the favor of Tennessee, but
Mm-hmm.
I like what they've got. I think that they take this game. I don't necessarily like the 7.5 either, but I think they take this game pretty handedly.
Yeah, I agree. And this is not the biggest Tennessee fan here, but I think with Aguilar, you've finally found the quarterback he's been looking for since Hendon Hooker. Someone who can run his offense the right way. Milton couldn't do it. Nico couldn't do it. He's finally getting back to where the pace he wants to play at. Someone who can read the defense the way he wants them to. I'm pretty high on UT this year, actually, and I was like, oh, they might not win that many games. I didn't expect Joey Aguilar to be there.
Dude, are you kidding me? I was low on them.
I was low before
I
the
didn't like
season.
the Joey Aguilar.
Oh no,
pickup.
that's what I'm saying. I was low before the season, but
Yeah.
after seeing Joey play, I was like, okay.
No, you and me are
Yeah.
on the same page with that
So,
for sure.
Yeah, I think Joey. No, he's somebody who might be raising his draft stock to be like a mid-round pick. Joey could be that.
No, he just turned 30 years old. He's
Brandon Whedon did it.
Joey Aguilar is going to be the best firefighter you've ever seen.
I think Tennessee wins by 14.
Yeah, I agree. I think this Tennessee offense has been explosive, really fun to watch too, man. I really enjoy. I'm one of those weird ones, man. Y'all are all going to come at me all different angles now. I root for all kind of Tennessee stuff.
Pause.
I like to see Vanderbilt do well. I like to see UT do well. So that game's always interesting for me. I'm kind of picking a different side every year, so just based on kind of how the season's going and stuff. But
Yeah.
You didn't have any kind of allegiance growing
last
up?
year I wanted UT to win it because I didn't want it to get. I wanted them to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Vanderbilt, if they continue this year, that game comes up, man, and they've got a playoff chance.
Yeah.
I will be rooting for Vanderbilt. in that
I have
game.
two favorite teams every Saturday. It's Vanderbilt and whoever's playing Tennessee.
See, Vanderbilt was always little brother, so I had a soft spot for my little brother. I want to see him do well against some of those opponents,
Yeah,
And
I
how
like
cool
to
would
see
it
them both
be
do well.
last week of the season, Vanderbilt, Tennessee playing for a playoff spot?
Oh my
Aguilar's been
gosh.
fun to watch though, man. That whole trade with UCLA and stuff is really fallen.
But why couldn't Nico do what Joey's doing? He couldn't hit the deep ball that well. The 5-star recruit
Yeah.
that you paid millions of dollars to
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
yeah,
You had to go get a firefighter from App State to come in and do it.
he's over
He's
there getting his
cocky,
coach
not
fired,
confident.
and,
That's his problem.
Jeez.
He's cocky, not confident.
How about LSU Ole Miss?
Oh,
That's a good game, dude.
I mean,
Where's it at?
excited for that
Is it
Georgia
Ole
game.
Miss?
there's nothing better
Uh,
than college football.
Yeah, it's at Ole Miss.
I don't
I cover the NFL, but I like college football maybe more because we've got Lane Kiffin, the head coach at Ole Miss, his
Yeah,
daughter
brother.
revealing this week that she's
Oh my
dating an LSU linebacker.
Saw that, man.
And Lane Kiffin's going around on social media tweeting at everyone, just take the over, take the over. Because there's going to be a lot of points in this matchup. So, you know what's crazy? Ole Miss really didn't like that team. Who was the quarterback before? What's his name?
Oh, is it Jackson Arnold?
No.
No,
I'm talking about the
Jeff
guy who started the year. Everyone, you all know who it is. Anyway, they made that switch over. And what I saw with that squad, with that new quarterback against Tulane last week, I say this is Ole Miss meeting their potential.
Yeah.
So with LSU coming in, who I'm not too high on with Garrett Nussmeier, I think Ole Miss is going to get the upset.
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
Brian Kelly, another guy who keeps losing the big game. So
Curtis, do you have the spread on the LSU game?
I think it's LSU 2.5.
Yeah, it's got to be like very small.
Yeah, the spread is 2.5 in favor of Ole Miss.
Ole Miss?
Oh, see, I'm thinking.
No, you mean LSU, right?
No, Ole Miss
No.
is at home. So
Ole Miss is at home. It's a 2.5.
Wow.
So basically, they're calling it an even game.
Wow.
Because you're going to see 2.5, 3 go towards the home team. Typically.
That surprises me.
So I'm taking LSU. The more experienced at quarterback.
I'm also going to take LSU. I think LSU's defense has shown up a lot. I think that's going to be the big factor here. If you haven't noticed yet, I'm kind of a defense guy.
I'd take Ole Miss for a
You got to be as a Texas fan.
field
right now.
goal at the end, man, to win the game at the very end. Man, I'm gonna make it a tight one, man. It's gonna,
What's
I just
final
want it to be
score?
a fun game. I'm gonna say
A lot of points.
42-39.
42-39.
Over under is 57.5.
48-45.
I was gonna say 35-34.
All right, I'm going to go.
Wow,
I'm going to
1 point game.
let's go buck wild here. Let's 56 to 56 to let's go 42.
The 6-7.
56 42
Yeah, I
LSU.
think it's more likely it ends
But
up.
but if you're out there listening to me, do not take my advice because I took Arkansas 4.5. That looks
Can we
super
check back in
intriguing.
on that game, please?
Super intriguing.
All right, and then another big marquee game, Alabama Georgia. This could set up a really fun, interesting thing next week. If Alabama were to lose, it's be the first time that they play Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is ranked higher than they are.
I don't know what to tell my kids.
Georgia is one field goal away from being ranked about number 10 or 11, and Tennessee right there with them.
Yep.
So
That nerd
I
couldn't
am
kick a field
taking
goal.
Georgia this one though.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's too close. I think Georgia handles business.
The spread
Ooh.
has Georgia 2.5.
I
According
think
to
it's
ESPN.
close, but I think
I
Georgia
think they
takes
win by
care of
10
it.
points.
This isn't Saban's Bama. You never want to be the guy after Saban. You want to be the guy after Saban. So once DeBoer gets fired, somebody will take that job proudly. You never want to be the guy that follows the legend, though.
Isn't this the first time Bama's gone down to Athens in like 10 years?
Yeah, it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
It's
And they
been a
haven't-
long time. And listen, I had my doubts about Georgia as well. Then they showed up to Knoxville.
Mhm.
Yep.
Gunnar Stockton making big play after
Yeah,
big play,
man.
coming
Yep.
up clutch, playing them tough. Tennessee gave them all they could, 21 points in the first quarter. So
Yep.
with that home field advantage against a team that has disappointed to this point, I think Georgia is my top bet of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I trust Georgia.
All right.
Way more than I trust
You
Alabama
heard
at this
Jordan.
point.
Make sure you go with Bama.
Yeah, I'm all in on Georgia.
My top bet was Arkansas, right?
But I mean, as far as other games go, Ohio State should take care of business against Washington.
Did we give score predictions on Oregon Penn State?
No, but do we have to?
We don't have to. I mean,
Yeah,
right
I
now, I
feel
think
like-
Oregon takes it, by the way.
Sounds like you really want to.
No, we don't. We can do whatever you want, Curtis. It is
Oh,
a CPN, I guess.
I'm all SEC anyway, so let's.
He didn't even click on all footballs like games. He said SEC games.
It's the only ones that matter. It just means more.
I agree.
You're an Ohio State fan.
What?
I'm confused.
How
You
are
were
you-
Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Now we have Ohio State in the mix too.
He's an
And Notre Dame,
he's an
okay.
original. Like, if he had to pick one out of the four, it'd be Ohio State.
Probably.
That's where he grew up.
That comes from.
He had the hat.
So,
Were you an Ohio kid then?
No, we're
no,
born
it
and raised
just
right
comes
here.
from when the Titans came here, man. And,
Yeah.
Eddie George was my favorite player, man.
Okay,
And,
that's fair.
Being a Vanderbilt fan when I was a kid, you
It's
don't really
hard.
have a dog in the fight. too
Yeah.
much, so
That's
you
tough.
better pick another winner. If
Hey.
you want to have some games to.
How about Virginia taking down Florida State last night?
Did you watch that game, dude? That was incredible.
Yeah.
That was an insane game.
Yeah, I had it on the bar at the pub last night in Portland, and Good God, man. That
Was that the most aggressive field storming you've ever seen in your life?
in my life? That wide receiver is still trying to find his way
Was
off
that
the
Squirrel
field.
White? Was that Squirrel White,
I
the
think
Tennessee
so.
transfer?
I think so.
Oh my
He just disappeared into nothing.
FSU.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I did.
He
I missed
disappeared.
it.
He hasn't gotten up yet. Like,
Yeah, no, he's still on the field somewhere.
I was keeping up with it on my phone. I didn't get to watch it.
dude, it was
my wife's birthday, but
all the games last night were just incredible.
Yeah.
TCU, Arizona State.
Yeah.
And then we had a Houston, Oregon State.
Yeah.
Houston was supposed to handle that. Oregon State looked like the Titans of the FBS through the first few weeks.
Yeah.
sounds like my wife picked a bad day to be born.
I mean, it's pretty bad. We talked about the draft tonight, guys, and it's week 4.
Ruben Bain.
Hey, we're
Well,
talking
Ruben
about
Bain.
We're doing
we're
national
talking about
sports radio here, so
Yeah. We're talking about 2 0-3 teams. All right, the draft talk's coming regardless.
The
Hey,
coach
but
is talking
what?
draft
One
talk.
of us is gonna have a win this week, boys.
again,
3-1.
we're gonna
Allegedly.
tie. It's gonna be
Allegedly,
0-0 would be so
it's gonna be 3-3.
the potential's there. You know, we'll say that.
We're gonna send Joey Sly out for a 75-yard field goal at the end of overtime to try to win it.
But then we're not gonna get the K ball in time, and then we take a delay of game.
Then
We're gonna
comes an
ice our
80-yard
kicker.
field goal.
Hey, I have been hearing a lot lately about how the college football is trying to take over Friday night programming. What do you guys think about that?
Work with now, I thought there was like some law in place when high school football starts.
Law? You think?
Yeah, this is what I.
You
Yeah,
think
I
the
saw
government got
I was
involved in
watching, I believe it was Marcellus Wiley. It's a pro football player that was talking about it. I believe it
They
was,
took our jobs.
I believe it was that dude. Like it's something. Yeah, that's why they NFL gets in their couple of Friday night games. Those first couple of weeks, or that first week before high school starts.
Well,
Is there something about broadcasting football games on Friday?
Really, because it seems like we're seeing more Friday
I
games.
can't. I wish I
Yeah.
could give you the particulars on what I mean. It was something I briefly kind of watched. I believe it was that dude, man. Marcellus Wiley was talking about it. Something like that. I could be wrong for that.
I think college football is going to expand more in
I would
terms
love
of
to see
like
that.
Fridays, Thursdays. We see Thursday games, but they're usually lesser teams.
yeah.
I think it's working towards that way, especially in this brand new world of NIL.
I would trade Thursday night football for a night of college football on Thursday.
You can.
Any day of the week,
You just have to watch App State Marshall, but it's there.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah,
But
put some
it's there.
primetime stuff,
Yeah.
throughout the week. I would love that, man. I love college football. It's my
Yeah.
favorite.
There's enough
Favorite thing to
teams
watch.
that have games every night. Jeez.
All right, let's pivot real quick, and then we'll get this thing wrapped up. Jordan, how many stadiums in the NFL have you actually been in?
Not too many. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jacksonville Jaguars, Tennessee Titans, Washington Commanders, Las Vegas Raiders.
That
was
Buccaneers
that
stadium
stadium?
always looks really
That was
cool.
the Raiders stadium. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was on the field for media day for the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice.
So that was the stadium looks sick. And again, I haven't been to too many amazing places. I want to go see the Rams Chargers Stadium,
Oh yeah.
but the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas was one of the cooler places I've been, especially since I got to walk the field and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay looks like they have a really cool stadium.
I love Raymond James. I love the city of Tampa, man. I really do. And when I was a student at Tennessee, I was a journalist, so I covered their bowl game. So I got to go to Jacksonville one year,
Oh, nice.
and then Tampa Bay as well. We just absolutely thrashed Northwestern and Iowa in those games. So that was really cool experience. I love any trip to Florida, and I love Tampa. Jacksonville, a lot of people hate on it. I don't hate on Jacksonville. I think it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience
it.
Yeah,
last
you were
week,
just there, actually.
yeah, we were just there.
Give us your rundown on Jacksonville for us.
So the stadium was about as on par.
Did you go in the
as-
pool? Did you go in the pool? Take your shirt off?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not
Right
big
on
on catching like dysentery. But
Brain eating amoebos.
but I would give the Titan Stadium and Jaguar Stadium about the same kind of tier.
That's why they're both getting new stadiums in the next few years.
Yeah, 100%. But it was so hot in Jacksonville. I was actually praying for clouds.
I see it on your face right now.
You think this is
Yeah.
bad? You should have seen them when we were driving home on Monday. It was
Oh, dude. Well, first of all, everybody was so drained from the sun that the car ride, which was a 15-minute car ride back to the Airbnb we were all staying at, was silent. I'm pretty sure like half the vehicle was asleep.
well, it took an hour too because all the
Well, yeah, there were
but it
traffic
was out.
delays, but there were still, I mean, it wasn't that long of a car ride,
no,
and
no.
everybody was out and like a light. My little brother's in the back seat, just struggling to not throw up.
It was such a bad game, and I don't like either of those teams. So I spent a lot of time in the concourse.
It was a tough game. Oh, there were some exciting moments, right? Was
That's
it
what
Nico?
it's like.
Was it Nico Collins who fumbled that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Fumbled the
He
game
said
away?
The first two drives, they both kind of
Well-
drove. We're like, oh, this is going to be a good game.
yeah. Well,
And then it was.
Nico fumbled the game away, and then the Jaguars drove down and scored their last touchdown to make it 17-10. And then we got the ball back and drove down the field, and Ariante Ursary got beat like a drum by Josh Hines Allen. And Allen goes and hits CJ's arm as he's throwing the ball, causes the game sealing interception.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's so frustrating being a Texans fan.
So
right
not
now.
a very fun bachelor trip, huh?
Oh, no.
I mean, it was a good time. I
Yeah,
mean,
great.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
we
I
didn't
mean,
spend a lot of time in the city, though. Like, we hung out at the house, cooked, drank,
yeah. I mean, we were about as
recorded some podcasts.
yeah. It was basically like a group podcast effort that I just kind of disguised as a bachelor party, and it worked. It
You're
was a
not
good
even
time.
getting married, are you? It's just a trip for the podcast.
It's actually all an illusion. I'm paying Alyssa.
We're doing a bachelor party again next year at the Texans Stadium.
Yep, that is something that we discussed. We will be going to all the different AFC South stadiums,
Cool.
one a year for the next little bit.
I want to go see Indy. My sister just moved to Indianapolis, actually.
Okay.
So I haven't actually gone and seen that stadium.
It's
Oh,
not bad.
nice.
I've been there a couple times. It's
And
pretty nice
she's part of like the healthcare program for one of the hospitals there. So it might be against Houston. One of the games. You guys have a game against the Colts in Indy coming up or no?
I think it's like week 9 or something.
Okay. She was telling me she gets to like walk the field like with her medical group
That's sick.
in Indianapolis. I was like, yeah, that's really cool. I haven't been there.
Yeah,
That's a nice stadium.
it is a nice stadium.
We've been there when it was the RCA dome that they were under.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We
That
were
was a
there.
nice building.
Yeah. Now we got the house that Peyton built.
He's
You mean
right
Daniel
outside of
Jones? You mean Daniel Jones?
Indiana.
Gee. All I know is I'm glad that like the moment Peyton retired was a collective sigh from everybody else's.
And then they drafted Andrew Luck.
well, no, sorry.
Yeah, we
Not-
were screwed either way.
Ruined, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, the Titans were because Andrew Luck never lost to the Titans, but not to throw shade or anything.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
you're
a-
throwing shade.
Just
I
an
felt it.
just an objective fact.
You know, we're on the Titans podcast right now.
I mean, you guys had a little bit more of a rough time against Andrew
No,
Luck.
absolutely, absolutely.
We didn't necessarily have it easy against him, and they beat the crap out of us in the playoffs that one year. Actually, we were the last team to go 0-3 and then make the playoffs, and then we made the playoffs, and the Colts just murdered us. So, I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness. I'd like to go to the Colts Stadium. I think the next one we're going to is the Texans Stadium, and then the Colts, and then the Titans, and then
difference
back to
for
the Jags.
Us and the rest of the team is it could be a day trip for us. It's just right up the road.
Yeah, the Colts is a day
We could
trip.
just come right back down.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think this is a good spot to go ahead and wrap it up, gentlemen.
Yeah, for sure.
So folks out there watching, go ahead, head on over to CBS Sports, find all of Jordan Dajani's work. The man's an amazing writer. Just go enjoy.
Not a great better, but
He's a better writer than a better, but
That's
that's
probably
fine.
true.
But make sure you like, subscribe here on Titans Table for Two. Make sure you stop by Halfbatch. They've also got cars for Casa out here.
a lot of cool looking cars out there.
Oh yeah, classic cars for days. So, but yeah, like, subscribe here, hit that notification bell, and be good people.
Be good people. Thank you guys.